I have some question
Okay.
about association with the Vaishnavas. Is the Sukriti involved in good and have a good association?
Is there Sukriti behind, you mean being able to receive good association?
Because some,
sorry, Prue, that's your question.
yes.
As far as I understand, yes, our Sukriti will guide us towards a particular type of association. Yes, I would say definitely. Yes. Sukriti manifests as appreciation, right? Appreciation for Krishna consciousness. And so the depth of our appreciation is an outcome of our Sukriti. So the caliber of association, I'm speaking in terms of not necessarily what we have physically, but I'm speaking more on a more subtle level in terms of our taste, in terms of the association that resonates with us, in a general sense and also in a specific sense, First of all, if we consider within the world of, if we're speaking within the arena in a broad sense, within the world of Krishna consciousness movements and missions, then there are many, right? So why are some drawn to Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, some are drawn to the shelter of Srila Govinda Maharaj and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and why are others drawn? There are so many missions, right? And we can't say that they are all exactly the same. We cannot say that they're all giving exactly the same quality and depth in Krishna consciousness. So why is one drawn to one mission, one guru, and another is drawn to another mission, another guru? And then also, once you enter into that particular mission, there's also so much gradation there, right? There are so many levels of realization within that group, So why is one person drawn to this association, another drawn to that association? Yes, Sukriti is acting behind that for sure. I don't know what was behind your question, but if you're asking in terms of like what physical association we have, that is a different matter, because Krishna may put us in a difficult circumstance in order to help our growth, What's more important is the taste that we have, the type of attraction that we have to association, to particular because association ultimately takes place on the conscious plane, right? So I would say our what type of physical association we have, it may or may not be the result of Sukriti. But what is consistent is that inner attraction that we have. That definitely will be the outcome of Sukriti. And physically, if we don't have any physical good association, that may or may not be the outcome of Sukriti. That we cannot be sure. But more fundamental is, that inner, what association we are taking on a conscious level, that is more significant. And in any case, even if we are lacking association, as a result of a lack of Sukriti or not, still we have nothing else to do, right? But to try to situate ourselves in the proper posture of hankering, of aspiring, of earnestly aspiring for the right connection. We can always do that. No matter what circumstances, we can try to internally align ourselves and pray for the proper connection, the proper realization, and so on. Does that make sense, Prabhu? Does that touch upon what you're thinking of?
Yes, Vishakha Devi, thank you so much. It makes very sense.
Okay.
Yes, Didi, I also think that like a mosquito gets association of the guru too, right? Right. It's that's not type of association. Like I felt oftentimes on the veranda that my association with Gurudev was of the same level as the mosquitoes in the room.
Yeah, Gurudev would say that also. He would say a louse or a lice, and that he used that example. Lice is very, very close, right? If you have lice, it's sticking right to your skin. But what's really taking place, you know? What type of association is really there? So it is on the conscious plane that real association is taking place. I saw, let's see, something in the chat popped up. Say Varupa. Please explain what is Mahadwadashi. You know, this is I'm not a mathematical person at all. And it's a complicated technical thing to do with the maybe Chinmoy Prabhu can explain better. I don't know.
I'm not very expert in this as well.
Govinda Nandini is actually a bit of an astrologer. Are you able to explain? Okay, it's what it is. It's a technical thing because Ekadashi, Ekadashi literally means the 11th day, right? So it means the 11th day in the cycle of the waxing or waning moon. And Mahaprabhu, and there are different ways of exactly calculating, but Mahaprabhu, he requested that if the Tithi, and God, I can't really explain it properly, but so there, you can calculate when the Tithi begins, right? When this phase of the moon, the time. And so Mahaprabhu, if I'm repeating correctly, if the Tithi begins after sunrise, then it's considered impure. And so then you're meant to follow it the next day instead. That it's considered contaminated. If the Tithi is not beginning at within the right period, then it's considered impure. So then Dwadashi is the next day. Dwadashi means the 12th day. So then it rolls over. So then you follow it the next day. No, I can't explain it properly because it's quite a technical thing. I can't say I understand it properly, but along those lines, I can find some explanation for you if you would like, but it's just a technical thing like that.
That's perfect. I was just worried if I'm on the right day. Do I have it on the right day? So, but that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So Mahadwadashi, is indicating that we are following the customs of Ekadashi on that day, on the Dwadashi. It indicates we're following the Ekadashi practice on Dwadashi. So that's what Mahadwadashi means. That it has that special importance. And Maha means great, right? So Mahadwadashi, we're following the regulations of Ekadashi on Dwadashi. That's essentially what it means. Because the Ekadashi Tithi was contaminated. That's the essence of it.
Thank you.
Paksha Vardini, that sounds like Vardini. Is that maybe is referring to the waxing moon, and Paksha is that referring to white? Paksha? not sure, but I think that Paksha Vardhini is just referring to the phase of the moon. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Now, Chinmoy Prabhu has shared with me here Nahusha's question. Oh, now Nahusha's joined us. Welcome. And also Jayadev Prabhu, Chintamani Devi's here. Annie and Bhakta Kori have also joined us. So we have a question here, and this came from Nahush. One of our 6 Goswamis. Okay, nice. Govind Sanjini shared something here about Mahadwadashi. Thank you so much. There's a link in our chat. Okay, now a question here. One of our 6 Goswamis, I believe, is known Raghunath Bhatta Goswami for his humble service to Krishna and his devotees. So I want to ask, how is service also chanting? Or an anga of chanting? And in this way, we can use the opulence available to us in the service of Krishna. Thereby, we can also be detached from wealth by use. Now, this question is not so clear because you're making a distinction between service and chanting. But what do you mean by service? Because chanting is also service. So are you referring to practical services? Or Nahush, do you want to clarify? Do you want a
Yes,
copy of your question?
yeah, I'll clarify. So it's in regards to when Srila Prabhupada first gave the order to chant, he asked to chant 64 rounds for everybody. Then came down to 32, then
Srila
down to
Bhakti,
62.
you're referring to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
Yeah, he asked, I know his disciples chant 64 rounds.
Oh, so wait, when you said Prabhupada, sorry, because in our mission, we
yeah.
often refer to
Yes.
Saraswati. So when you said Prabhupada, you meant Srila Swami Maharaj.
Yes, but AC,
Oh,
yeah,
so
that's why.
really, he initially instructed his disciples to chant 64. Okay.
Yeah, and then they said they couldn't, so he came to 32. Still say they said they couldn't, so he said no less than 16. And so one thing I wanted to ask is, sometimes I have the desire, let me just spend the whole day to chant. But it's not very practical, and it's better to be steady. So in that way,
Better to be, what did you say, steady?
Yeah, steady as in like a fixed number of rounds per day, every day, instead of doing like 64 one day and 16 the next day. It's better, I guess. I don't know. That's what I've heard. So in that way, what I was asking is, if I do 16 rounds, and I do some physical service like cleaning the temple or making garlands and other services to Krishna, can I tell myself that that's also service? That's also like part of chanting, because I'm not up to the 64 round mark or even on the 16 round mark. So I just want to know, like, if I do a certain amount of rounds and I do service, can I tell myself that that's also part of the service mood? And therefore, if I can't do 64 right away, I can do a lot of service, physical service, and then later on in life, if I have time and I get the spiritual strength, I can do then 64 rounds. That's kind of what I was going for, if that makes sense.
Well, what this really comes down to, and this is one way in which Srila Sridhar Maharaj and our Gurudev Srila Govinda Maharaj have discussed this, is Nam Seva, service to the name, and Vaishnava Seva, service to the Vaishnava. So these practical services, we can think of them in that way, to service as service to the Vaishnava. And you see, the way that they've explained it is that that in this, that, you know, particularly in this age, the Nam Seva, service to the name, you know, that, okay, let me back up a little. Vaishnava Seva and Nam Seva, they've said, are almost on exactly the same level. But Nam Seva is considered to be a little higher. It has some special position. No. However, you see, the problem is that at our current level of realization, we are not able to do pure service of the name. See? So therefore, we tend to have a little more emphasis on the service to the Vaishnava, you know. And they've also explained, through the service to the Vaishnava Seva, we can gain qualification for Nam Seva. No. So I'm saying that kind of like as background, you know, that, you know, when we are chanting the name, you know, it is like we are practicing, and we are calling out to the name. You know, we cannot think that we are actually able to chant, you know, at our current stage. We are trying, we are praying to the name, please descend, you know. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't chant. That's not what our gurus have said at all, but it's important that we have that consciousness in the background, you know, that we have that awareness, you know, when we're chanting, that we won't think that we are doing pure service of the name, or that we are able to directly approach the name at the current time. And in terms of, so how does that translate into our daily practice? You know, I would say, you know, first of all, I would say I disagree with that viewpoint that you should emphasize regularity and steadiness and how many rounds you're chanting. You know, I would disagree with that. I would say keep a minimum. If your minimum is 16, then maintain that. But if you feel inspired some days and you have the time to chant more, then go for it. You know, our Gurudev mentioned once, actually, there's no limit to how many rounds we can chant. You know, that, you know, because people may debate, you know, 4 rounds, 16 rounds, 64 rounds, or 32 rounds, but actually there's no limit, you know, just chant, you know. And our Gurudev also made the point that it's not about how many rounds, you know, or whether we're chanting on beads or not, but really what we have to think about the overall spirit behind what we're doing. And what we're trying to move towards is to live in this spirit of calling upon the Lord's name, you know, that's like an urge. We want to cultivate that kind of urge within our heart, where we always feel the need to call upon the names of the Lord, with beads or without beads, you know. So I don't think you need to feel restricted, you know. However, at the same time, in light of what I said when I started out here, if there is like real necessity of practical service, then that should take precedence, you know. If it is something that, you know, what I mean is, like, we don't want to be in that mentality of someone's asking us, oh, please help me with this urgent service, and we'll say, oh no, I haven't finished the 64 rounds I wanted to chant today, you know, because that if there's some immediate service, then that will take priority. That's of more significance for us, you know, especially at our current stage. You know, that's more of a direct line to the upper world, you know, the connection with the Vaishnava. That's a safer bet, you know, as being authentic. So if there's some real necessity, then that should take priority, you know. And I think it's also very good to have the habit of, you know, having some, right, just as you have some regular chanting service, and then you can also have some regular, temple seva, Vaishnava seva, these things, ultimately everything is interconnected, right? And there's an interplay between all of these things. And so, does that answer your question?
Yes, definitely, Didi. It's really nice. And you clarified that misconception for me that, it's no limit really. So it's good to set a minimum for ourselves. So thank you so much. It does clarify a lot of things. I think I'm overthinking some things, and I have to get out of my head and actually, do some physical service. I think.
Yeah,
I get too much caught up in it.
Yeah, that can happen, that's what can be very helpful about practical service, because we can get lost in our heads, as you said, all of us, myself as well. Whereas having practical service and remember what comes with chanting, our Gurudev emphasized so much the third verse of the Shikshashtakam, right? Chinada Pis Punichena, this verse, discussing these qualities of humility, tolerance, and respect, so, Kirtaniya, Chinada Pisunichena, Chororiva Sahishtana, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya, Sadahadi, one who is humbler than a blade of grass, as tolerant as a tree, who can give honor to others without expecting it for themselves. Kirtaniya Sadahari. Such a person, can always chant the name. So we also have to think about that. What comes along with chanting. What type of heart will the name be attracted to descend upon? And how can we cultivate that? And that's in the association of the devotees. That's the real field. That's the practical field. When we can, everything that we're meditating on and studying and discussing, that's the field in which it actually becomes meaningful. We enter out of theory into practice. So, that's there are many valuable things to take away from Vaishnava association and Vaishnava service. And one of them is that it gives us the chance to practice, and it gives us the chance to see how far we've come. We can talk about tolerance, but then when we have some awkward situation with someone, then then we'll see how much tolerance we actually have, So that, that's one of the things that's very helpful in having association. It's easy to be humble and tolerant if we're in a cave, right? Or we're sitting in our rooms chanting, But then if we're, we may feel that sometimes, right? We can get into the delusion that we're very humble. And then we face some difficulty and it all just comes out, So that's one thing that is very helpful in association. Anyone want to add anything to that?
Well, Didi, I was wondering, because we were just Vaishnava Seva, that's pretty practical. We can understand that. We can serve Prashadam to the Vaishnava. We can give them a glass of water. But Nam Seva, that I can understand that as, the Vaishnava is giving us that Seva. And so we're doing it also because it is the request of Guru to chant on the beads, the Maha Mantra. But Nam Seva, how are we serving the name?
Well, at our current stage, I agree with you. You've made a good point. That's how I think. I think of my chanting as a part of my Vaishnava Seva. Because I don't have the level of realization to do Nam Seva, So yes, I agree, that we can frame it like that, that on the order of our Guru, we are chanting. So it's a part of our Vaishnava Seva. Ramai Prabhu, the legendary Pujari at our Sokel Seva Ashram in California, he was he was the #1 pujari, you know, in our mission. And I was very inspired when he made that comment. I mean, his level of service and dedication to the deities was phenomenal. He would change their outfits twice a day. And he'd be up at 3 a.m., you know, going to bed 10, 11 p.m. It was all day he was serving them. You know, now there's a team of like maybe 10 devotees who are trying to do what he did, and they've had to reduce the standard as well. No, I mean, it was not human, actually, what he was doing. It just wasn't human. But he, you know, so he's known for his extreme devotion to the deities. But what did he say? He said that he considered his deity service to be Vaishnava Seva. He considered that Srila Govinda Maharaj had requested him to take care of these deities. And so he was doing it in service to Srila Govinda Maharaj. He said, I don't feel like I'm qualified to serve the deities. So this is my service to Srila Govinda Maharaj, you know. And that touched me so deeply, you know, that he could say something like that. Such humility. So yes, I think it's a very good point. Yeah. And we can also remember Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. This is a related point, that, you know, that we are. This other point is that we can think we are in the mission of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he expected, you know, particular standard, and he put all the emphasis on the practical missionary activities, service of the Vaishnava. And even in the case of Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, you know, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he was a pure devotee, and he had that inclination for Nam Bhajan. You know, he always liked to consistently throughout. He was a godbrother. Sorry for those who aren't familiar with him. He was a godbrother of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and also disciple of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And he consistently throughout his whole life, he avoided practical missionary activity, and he liked to chant in a solitary way. He would stay sometimes in forest, or he'd stay in Vrindavan in a cave, and he only liked to chant. And he actually had the qualification. Gurudev described him as a pure Vaishnava. No, so he actually could do Nam Seva. However, Srila Saraswati Thakur never accepted it, you know, and there were a few occasions when he chastised him. You know, he wanted him to be active, you know, in the mission. So it's an interesting point that even he had that, he could do Nam Seva, but still it wasn't accepted by Saraswati Thakur in his preaching mission. Anyway, that's a loosely related point. Gurudev made another interesting comment, and this is a little dangerous, you know. So I don't know if I should share this on Facebook live stream, but anyway, I'll share it. That he said, I just came across it in one old recording, like from 1989 or something, and he said, because Gurudev, he wouldn't chant actually, you know, sometimes, but he wasn't, because he was so busy serving, you know, and so he made this comment that he said, I am not qualified to chant, you know. So, but that, you know, so he was saying, this is my vision, that I cannot chant. My Guru Maharaj can chant, you know. So my Guru Maharaj is chanting the name, and I'm serving him. He said, this is my vision. And he said, but then now this is the point to remember. Then he said, but this is not a beginner stage. You know, for him to be able to say, I'm setting aside like my japa He's saying this is not a beginner stage. No. So it's interesting because he indicated 3 stages here. That the beginner stage, when we are putting emphasis on chanting, and then the middle stage when we can set that aside, only do seva, and then highest stage, one can actually chant the name. The first stage is like imitation chanting, to get into the habit, to approach that consciousness, So an interesting point, that was his vision. Like, my Guru Maharaj is chanting. I cannot chant. My Guru Maharaj is chanting the name, and I'm serving him. That is how I am posing myself. That was Gurudev's mood. But it is not for us to imitate. And so, somebody actually asked our Gurudev once, no, we never see you chanting on your japa. and our Gurudev, he answered, do you want me to put on a show? Do you want me to put on a show? He was so, direct like that, and so, revolutionary, you could say, in that sense. He really made you rethink your understanding, of what real Krishna consciousness is, and not everybody could understand that, Amrita's also joined us. Great to see you, Amrita. A nice group today. Anyone else want to share anything in our group today or suggest another topic? Annie, have we had Annie with us before? I can't recall. Annie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, it's been quite a while. I came to one of the classes once before.
Okay, cool. And where are you calling in from today?
I'm calling in from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, are you a friend of Chintamani?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, great to have you with us, Annie.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else want to suggest anything? We still have a little time.
I have one question.
Okay.
I found this here. I'm going to copy paste. It's from, wait, just 1 minute. It's from Affectionate Guidance. And I think Gurudev's talking about Ramananda Samvad. And then he says, at the end, he says, many times, he's talking about Guru Maharaj, many times he appointed that all the base of the ontological conception of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And then into brackets, there is one word named Chaitanyite.
Chaitanya.
No, it's written exactly like this, Chaitanyite.
Chaitanyite.
Chaitanyite, yeah.
Oh,
A devotee of
Chaitanya.
Chaitanya.
Yeah, to me that looks like follower of Chaitanya. Yeah.
Okay.
What is the sentence?
Wait. And many times he appointed that all the base of the theological conception of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, into brackets, Chaitanya it's contained into the Ramananda Samvad.
Yeah, I have to see the full, maybe you can paste.
I'm because I'm looking into the Portuguese translation. Let me
I mean, one thing actually, there are quite a few typos in affectionate guidance. I can say that for sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's from Awakening to the Absolute, from Guru Maharaj. Look here. Oh, Chinmoy.
Many times pointed out that the entire theological basis of Gaudiya. Okay, well then what he means by Chaitanya is Gaudiya. Because the thing is, Gaudiya has different connotations. You know, Gaudiya can refer to Bengal. So a Gaudiya can refer to simply a Bengali person. So I think he's specifying Gaudiya as in referring to Lord Chaitanya's teachings. Yeah, Chaitanya referring to in the line of Chaitanya Dev's teachings.
Okay, a follower of Sri Chaitanya.
Well, he's saying Chaitanya, Gaudiya as meaning Mahaprabhu. Vaishnavism in the line of Mahaprabhu, right, in the line of Chaitanya Dev. He many times points out that the entire theological basis of Gaudiya Vaishnavism or Mahaprabhu's teachings is contained therein. See? Does that make sense? Because Gaudiya can refer to more general things. So he's specifying Mahaprabhu.
Oh, great. Thank you.
And Nahush has another question here. Is there a difference from Harinam initiation, or is the difference Harinam and Brahman? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of you know, our usage of these terms is, it's how can I say, you know, because previously there wasn't really Harinam initiation, you know. There would just be Gayatri. You wouldn't be initiated into chant. You wouldn't be like formally initiated into chanting the Maha Mantra. It wasn't like that. You would receive, there was the tradition of receiving Gayatri, you know, Gayatri Mantra, Diksha, you know. But nowadays, yeah, we use those terms. And I'm not actually sure, maybe someone else here knows. I think the practice started with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur of having a formal initiation with the Maha Mantra. I think it began with Srila Saraswati Thakur because, you know, for the most part, everything that we do in all of our practices, they come from Saraswati Thakur. So I believe it originated with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And so we make a distinction between Harinam Diksha, Gayatri Diksha, Harinam initiation, Gayatri initiation. Whereas previously Diksha would only refer to receiving the Gayatri Mantra. But yeah, otherwise there's the Harinam yes, there's a Harinam Diksha receiving. In our modern usage of these terms, Harinam Diksha, Harinam initiation refers to also we call first initiation, receiving the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra from Guru. And then Gayatri Diksha, Gayatri initiation, or second initiation, as we say sometimes, refers to receiving the Gayatri Mantra, which, yes, is also Brahman, considered Brahman initiation, is also referred to in that way. But yeah, it is a little confusing because the practices, the terms have changed, you know, over the last 100 years or so. Does that make sense? Does that clear that up, Nahush?
Yes, that clears things up. Thank you.
Okay.
I've heard Gurudev speak about this, and it does seem like the Westerners have changed it a little bit, because he was talking about a person during Saraswati Thakur's time who took Harinam initiation, but Gurudev did not consider him a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur because he took Diksha initiation from someone else. So, and I've seen him speak on that a couple of different times, where like your Diksha guru is your guru, that you are a disciple of your Diksha guru. And the Harinam initiation doesn't, he didn't express it so well what the Harinam initiation meant, but it didn't seem like to have the importance that the Diksha initiation had. But it seems like over time, it has changed a bit, at least in the Western society.
Yeah, I think I've heard that same recording, and I was actually kind of surprised the way that Gurudev spoke about it. Like it wasn't considered so significant, that Harinam initiation. But yeah, that makes sense, what you said, that it has just evolved into something a little different. The perspective is different, whereas before it wasn't considered, so important. So yeah, it makes sense.
One thing many devotees have told me, I don't know if this is authentic, but many devotees tell me that Harinam initiation, you are accepting the guru, and with Gayatri initiation, the guru is accepting you. This is a common saying amongst devotees here in America. I don't know. A lot of people say it.
I mean, it sounds nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of that in the scriptures, but anyway.
I mean, actually, that exchange
doesn't
depend on the initiation. No.
Right.
That exchange of faith, it's not bound by the formality of an initiation, the first or second. So, and another interesting point, just to kind of throw a spanner in the works of this discussion, is that we're also told that we can get everything through the Harinam connection. Our gurus have also said that that initiation, receiving the Maha Mantra, we can get out. The Maha Mantra can give us everything. That's also been told. And Gurudev, Srila Sridhar Maharaj have explained that the Gayatri Mantra is helpful because it can help it is helpful in our chanting of the Maha Mantra, that the Gayatri chanting helps to clear the offenses, the namabhas, in our chanting of the Maha Mantra. But it is actually possible to get everything through the Maha Mantra connection, that our gurus have also told us that. So
I have heard that, yeah.
But really, it is a matter, initiation, it's a matter of faith, The Trivikram Maharaj told me that his brother, Manohar Prabhu, his brother, he received initiation over the phone, he's in Brazil, Manohar Prabhu. And afterwards, Gurudev told to Trivikram Maharaj's brother, he said, actually, the initiation depends on his faith, that he has faith in me. He truly has faith in me and what I'm giving him. And it's not it can happen by phone, or it can happen in in a number of different ways. That's not the factor. What's really significant is the exchange of faith, that the disciple is putting their faith in the guru, and the guru is accepting their charge. That's really the significance. So that's not bound by, any particular formality. Somya Sham Prabhu has also just joined us. Under that. We're going to
I've
see.
also always heard, oh,
Sorry,
I just
go,
want to say
go
I've
ahead.
also always heard that there's more importance on the Siksha Guru really than the Diksha Guru, who you're taking instruction from and who you're, the association.
Yes, that is also true. Absolutely. That's another spanner in the works. Yes, absolutely. The Shiksha connection is all important. And the Shiksha Guru may be synonymous with one's Diksha Guru. That is often the case, but it may not be, it may not be. And yes, the Shiksha takes precedence. The Shiksha connection takes precedence. Absolutely. Our Guru Parampara, Shiksha Guru Parampara, not a body line, not a line of bodies, as Srila Maharaj just said, but the tracing is of the line of Shiksha, the line of instruction, of teaching, the conception. The emphasis is there. So yes, absolutely. So many things. It's such a fine conception, isn't it? So many fine points that must be considered. Can be very tricky sometimes in understanding the proper angle of vision, in some things. Many fine points to consider.
Well, you make those points really easy to understand, Didi. I appreciate it very much.
Oh, well, you speak very well, Prabhu, yourself. You have a clear understanding. Oh, Annie's saying she has to go. Thank you so much for joining us, Annie. And if you have any particular requests for discussion, let us know. Otherwise, we're happy to just have you with us in the group. Yeah. But yeah, Jita, Krishna, we're always happy to hear your comments and reflections, and very much appreciated. We have Ananga Krishna Prabhu with us, Tiwana. And so next Tuesday, we just realized is actually our meeting day. It's coinciding with our Guru Dev's Divine Appearance Day. So we'll have a special meeting next week, and in remembrance of our Guru Dev. And it would be nice if others want to share something. It would be very nice to have hear more devotees in the group. If you would like to can prepare something or just speak spontaneously, please consider it. It would be nice to hear the inspiration of others regarding the glories of our Gurudev. He's the umbrella. Now our mission is kind of branching in different directions, but our Gurudev Srila Govinda Maharaj, he's the umbrella, that is uniting all of us. Like in the ISKCON mission, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he is the umbrella over now ISKCON's become such a huge movement, but Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada is the umbrella, uniting all of them, all of these kind of different branches. And so also in our mission, Srila Govinda Maharaj, and also of course Srila Sridhar Maharaj is the founder of our mission, but Srila Govinda Maharaj is a little closer to us, in time, and also in the fact that he came out personally to the West, and he inspired the whole, Western mission that we have at present. So, you know, he is and he is still uniting, you know, different sections of our mission. So anyway, if anyone wants to share something next week about his glories, that would be very welcome.
May I ask one more question? If it's, I don't know, if other
Yeah,
devotees have
please
questions.
go ahead.
Okay, I don't want to. Okay, so my question is on the Maha Mantra itself. You know, there's three names, Hare, Krishna, and Rama in the Maha Mantra, and from my understanding, I don't have a proper understanding, but what I'm trying to say is, my understanding is Hare refers to Srimati Radharani, Krishna refers to Krishna, and Rama refers to Lord Balaram, but also it can refer to, you know, if one thinks of Rama as Lord Ram, that should be okay. So my question is, when we're saying the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the first line is with Hare and Krishna, and then the second line is Hare and Rama. So my question is, since Srimati Radharani is the internal pleasure potency of Krishna, then how does Hare and Rama, I guess, you know, go together in Maha Mantra? And I'm not asking from a doubting point of view. I just wanted to know if there's a certain significance that I don't understand, or if not, it's okay. I'll continue chanting. It's just, you know, that was my curiosity, I guess. I'm asking in that regard. So I don't know if that's the right question to ask or anything.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. It's a very good question, and there's a very good answer. Don't worry.
Okay.
Actually, Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he had perfect understanding of Krishna consciousness and you know, this Rupanuga line, but in his presentation, sometimes he simplified things, and he gave, so like in his purports, I believe he's only given the explanations which you've mentioned, that it may refer to Balaram or Ramachandra. But actually, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave another explanation. Not that what Srila Swami Maharaj said is wrong, because actually it depends. Rama can be whoever you are referring to, right? You know, so it depends on your conception. But Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gave a deeper explanation, and we've heard that from Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Actually, in the book Loving Search for the Lost Servant, he mentions that there. And actually, the name that Srila Sridhar Maharaj first had was Ramendra. So this name Rama, right, is there. And so actually at the time of his initiation, Saraswati Thakur gave that explanation. So the explanation is that Rama and the Maha Mantra, it's actually, we have to remember the Maha Mantra, it's a fully Madhura Ras expression, as you've also indicated there, right? That Radharani is there. So, you know, Radharani is only with Krishna. You know, how can it be any other way? So Saraswati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained that here Rama is referring to Radha Raman Krishna. You know, here Rama refers to pleasure. So Radha Raman, right, is the name for Krishna, meaning who gives Rama pleasure to Radharani. So that Rama there is actually referring to Krishna in the deepest conception. So yes, Hare is Radharani, who can steal the heart of Krishna. And then Krishna is Krishna, of course. And then Rama is also referring to Krishna. Radha Raman Krishna. So yes, it's a very that's interesting that you had that, you felt that discrepancy.
Yeah, and it's in my understanding. It also refers to the pleasure that Krishna receives as well, in the sense, you know, the happiness. He's a supreme enjoyer in that way.
Wait, sorry, you're making a comment there, or?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it's a comment or an addition to what you were saying, in the sense that Rama also refers to the the happiness and the pleasure that Krishna feels, because as being the supreme enjoyer, or maybe, yeah, but I don't know. But I don't what you said is really nice, so I don't want to but it's really nice. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, if you look in I think maybe you have a copy of that book, Loving Search for the Lost Servant. Srila Sridhar Maharaj discusses that point there. So yes, very, very nice point that you raised there. Mhm. Yeah, and ultimately these things all come down to one's level of realization and conception. Actually, Krishna, there's also a Vishnu form called Krishna. There's a demon called Krishna. Krishna also can mean black, So the realization behind is all important. Any last words from anyone, or we wrap things? Oh, Tungarasa, you want to say something?
Oh no, sorry, I didn't know. I didn't see this was.
Okay, looks like you
Oh,
turned off.
Yeah, sorry.
But we're happy to hear your voice. Okay, well, Chinmoy Prabhu, any last words, or should we close there?
No, but very nice question. And you should definitely read The Loving Search for the Lost Servant, because in there he explains it very clearly. And I've also heard Guru Maharaj talk about it. The Harinam Maha mantra is pure Krishna consciousness for us. No other Leela.
Okay. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Shri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai, all the assembled devotees ki Jai, all the world devotees ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Jai Gaur Premanande.
Jai Vishakha Devi Dasi. Jai.
Jai Gurudev.
Right.